Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's podcast with Real Talk with Kayla and Divine Inspirations. I'm your host, Katina Lundy, and today we are excited to jump off season 2, episode 10 with our guest. Our first guest of the season is Mr. Daniel Porter, and this is a young man that is doing great things, the young millennium, and he's taking the world by storm. He's wearing multiple hats and he's juggling it all. As we just want to take this moment to thank all of our listeners around the world, around the globe. And we're just going to give a quick shout out to some of our listeners in some countries that have been listening every week. We want to give a shout out to the United States, to Germany, to the United Kingdom, to the Philippines, to Indonesia, Ireland, Jamaica, Canada, Nigeria, Haiti, India, Brazil, Singapore, the Bahamas, and of course, over in the islands. We thank you for listening to our podcast, Real Talk with Kayla and Divine Inspirations. And of course, as always, you can listen on multiple platforms. You can catch the video podcast on my YouTube channel, Kaylon Divine Inspirations. If you want to listen to the audio only, please go check out the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm. You can listen on the Breaker app, Pocket Cast app, Radio Public app, and on Buzzsprout. You can download those apps or you can listen from your web browser. Just go and do a search for Real Talk with Kayla and Divine Inspiration podcast, and you should be able to find me. And of course, don't forget to share the podcast with someone you know. Remember, sharing is caring. So please share today's podcast with someone you know. It could be an inspiration to them, motivation to them. So please inspire someone else by sharing the broadcast today. We really would appreciate it. And thank you as always for your continued support. Today, guys, our topic of conversation is about success. Success on the rise, a purpose-driven millennial. And again, as we said when we first came on, this young man, Mr. Porter, Daniel Porter, is wearing multiple hats. But guess what, guys? He's making it happen. He's making it work in his own special way. So let's just welcome him right now to the platform. Hello, Mr. Porter. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
We are glad to have you here today.
Glad to be here.
I just did a small introduction on you, but I know you're doing so many things. You can fill in here. Know that you are a councilman, or Macon County councilman, and you made history. Okay, Mr. Porter became the first ever, the youngest male to be elected to the city council. Not only was he the youngest person to be elected, he was the youngest Black person ever to be elected to the city council. So he made history in more than one way, and that's an awesome achievement, accomplishment for him. He's also an active member of the NAACP, doing things with them. He got multiple things, events coming up with the city council. And he's also, guys, a first year teacher. Can you imagine that? Adding that on to the plate, a first year teacher and high school students at that. High school students, okay? He is a graduate of Middle Georgia State University. Okay, and he attended Macon County High School in Montezuma, Georgia. Okay, and your major was in business. You got a BS in business management from Middle Georgia State University, and currently he is pursuing his master's degree, and Master's of Science from Middle Georgia State University. Okay, and he's majoring in education, furthering his education in with a degree in education. Okay. But Mr. Porter, can you fill us in on anything else for us, your background? Give us a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, Montezuma native, born and raised. I am currently 24 years old. So yes, I did make a little history. Um, that just juggle it. I just try to I gotta keep my head on straight. I really do. I am an active member of the NAACP as well as the Macon County Democratic Committee. I serve on many boards, many committees,
Mm-hmm.
and I just have a lot I have going on all the time.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, we are so excited to have you. And you're doing some great things thus far with your career. And I mean, that is just awesome, all that you have accomplished, and to be 24 years old and a part of the city council. Because many people your age, they're not even interested in being active in their community. They have no interest whatsoever in anything going on in the community. If it's not a block party or something at the club, they have no interest whatsoever. They don't want any involvement, especially when you're talking about NAACP. Even older people, a lot of people stray away from those things. So it just is awesome that you have chosen that path at such a young age.
Yeah, and honestly, that was one of the biggest things, my biggest little things I ran on when I ran my campaign for council. Like, because I know a lot of people probably looked at my age and said, he don't know what he talking about. He can't help run the city and all that kind of stuff. I said, yes, I can. My age makes me qualified because I know what's really going on. And I think that if we ever want to innovate and we ever want to see change, we gotta get young people like myself and like other people like involved in city government, in any type of form of any type of form of community service. Okay, any type of form of community service. I don't care what it is. You can volunteer to do anything, and I will also make a difference. You don't have to be serving on no board or in no committee just to make a difference. You can make your difference in like volunteer, go out to the schools. I mean, volunteer trash pickup for the city. I mean, it's everything. It's a lot of stuff that you can do, to give back to your community. That was one of my biggest things I want to do. I want to give back to the place that I call home.
Right. So from your experience thus far, have you noticed a big change in like the younger generation, the younger kids becoming more involved in the activities that are programs and different things that the city has sponsored lately?
Not yet. Not yet. From my standpoint and my perspective right now, but it's coming. It's coming. I can't say that I think it's coming. I think that we are moving in the right direction. We are definitely moving in the right direction. It's going to take some time. Nothing happens overnight. Right. So we're slowly building. We're slowly building and getting where we need to be, and eventually we're going to get there.
Right. Good. Okay. So, what advice would you like to give to our young millenniums? Not only young millennials, because a lot of people consider like the millennium age range. A lot of people consider that for like age 22 to like 40 in that range. But what advice would you like to give them? Or something you would like to share with them that can be an inspiration to them?
This is gonna sound cliche, but don't give up. Don't give up. Don't think that things that you want in life are unreachable. You can always do what you set your mind out to. What find you a tether. Okay, let's start there. Find you an anchor. Find you something that's gonna keep you grounded. Find you something that you can think back on. Like when you want to give up, you think back on it. Say, I can't give up. I need to do this for my people. Like, so my biggest anchor is my family. Like, I am very family oriented. I'm very family driven. So whenever I think about giving, I think about, okay, I got two sisters that's looking up to me. I can't fail. Because my sisters, I would not fail because I am my sister's protector. So that's just me. Um, and also, if you don't know the word of prayer, learn it. I I was taught prayer at a young age because I grew up in the church. Of course, my grandma took me to church. So I know how important it is to pray and make sure that you have a good, strong relationship with God because you're gonna need it. Because the road is not going to be easy. Okay. Um, Graduating seniors going off to college is not gonna be easy. Like, don't go into the real world with the mindset of it's a cakewalk out here.
Yeah,
No, some
it's
of us make
time to
it
live
look
it up and
okay.
blah.
It's not living part. Some of us make it look easy. Okay, it's not. It's not easy out here. If I can go back, my sister just said that if she can go back and relive her last year of high school, she would. Cause this life thing is something serious now.
Right.
So make sure that you so I made a couple points. I can't remember everything I made, but my last thing is your connections. Okay, make you some strong, solid connections that will keep you and that you can fall back on in the future. That's my last thing.
Right.
So pray, never give up. Find your anchor that's gonna always be there for you and will keep you motivated and highly determined to reach your goals. I said pray already. Yeah, I'm gonna say it again. Pray. And
Top of the list.
number on the list, top of the list, gonna put on the list about 3 times. It's a list of 5, on there 3. But yeah, just pray and don't give up.
Yeah,
Don't give
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah. And
And find
that those are some great points. Especially like you say, having a foundation. And I think today that's kind of like the missing ingredient for a lot of kids that are coming up today, because like a lot of people you see now, even the ones who are graduating from high school this year in the junior class, a lot of these people, they have young parents. They're coming from young families, and they don't have that solid foundation. It's like the generation now that are entering into the real, what we say, the real life. They come out of high school, going into the real life. A lot of them, you know, it's kind of like they're coming from a household where their parents, some of them may have parents that just is, maybe 30. What I'm saying? They had them when they was young, 14, 15 years old, 16 years old. So they don't have that found, a lot of them don't have that solid foundation background, like you say, with the church, and they wasn't raised in the church. They don't know about praying and reading their Bible and making that connection to stand on. So like you say, that's a good solid point to make sure that you have that relationship with God and you know how to pray for yourself. We can say, a lot of people use the old cliche, I'm here because of grandma's prayers or mama's prayer, but we're in a day and time now, and a now you got to know how to make it on your own prayers. You know what I'm saying? You got to know God for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You need that foundation.
I'm still surviving right now off of grandma prayers, bro.
Yeah.
Read and share, know that I'm praying. You hear me? Then I got a praying mama too. Woo, baby. So yeah, and like I said, they taught me. They taught me. And even if you had nobody to teach you, the internet will. Go online. Sometimes when I just don't have the words, to say or what I want to say, like I think about what I'm going to. If I'm stressed out, I go on Google and type in prayers about stress. Or if I feel like I'm having anxiety issues, I go prayers dealing with anxiety. There's a list. There's scriptures. There's a list of scriptures. I have a little red book that has scriptures for everything to go into depression, stress, anxiety. Go online, find you one of those books. It helps you. Going through college is not easy. You have different things you're trying to do. You're trying to juggle a social life. You're trying to juggle if you got a job. You're trying to juggle schoolwork on top of that, and also having a life on campus. It's like it's a lot, and it's gonna take you being real obedient when it comes down to reading your scripture.
Right, right, right. And another point you made was about your siblings. Like you're reminded every time when you reach that point where you get stressed or something, you said you remember that this is not the time to quit. You can't give up now because they're watching. And that's so true. A lot of times people are observing you, they're watching you, not necessarily your family, but other people in the community. They may never say anything to you, but they're watching. So we have to remember that we're role models, even when we don't realize that we're role models, because somebody's always watching what you're doing. So you can't give up. You have to be reminded to just keep pressing, to keep pushing, no matter how hard it gets. And sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader, and you have to learn how to encourage yourself, because a lot of times you might not have that support system. You know what I'm saying? You might not have that family member that come on and tap you on your shoulder and say it's gonna be okay. So a lot of times people have to learn how to be their own cheerleader and encourage themselves to keep pressing and moving forward towards their goals. Okay. And then another, like you just mentioned about school. Okay. So let's go there for a moment. Like I say, you got to learn how to juggle school life, your classes, doing your school, college assignments, learning to make new friends on college campus. And a lot of kids have like work study programs on campus. They're working a job. So you're juggling many things. It's not just all party. I think a lot of kids, they look at this as my ticket to freedom. I'm free at last. I'm free at last. I'm free at last. They just waiting on that to walk across that stage and hold that diploma up, and they're like, I'm free at last. But really, it's like this is the beginning of the first day of your life, in a sense. The real life. Once you go across that stage. And I think a lot of kids, they fail to realize that, because all they looking at, I'm finna move out my mama house. I'm moving into adulthood. I'm going on this campus, and I'm finna to live it up. And sadly, for a lot of kids, they're not able to make it. They're not sustained because they went with the wrong mindset. So can you kind of speak on that, about the mindset that they have when they go to college?
When you go to college, my biggest thing when you go to college, surround yourself with people who share your same interests. Surround yourself with people who want to succeed. Surround yourself with people who want to graduate, and surround yourself with people who just not in it for the party. Like, see, with me and my friends, we partied, but we got our work done, and we was highly involved. See, like I've always been an outgoing person, I've always been a people person. I surround myself with outgoing people. People person. I don't know how to say that word for real, but you know what I'm trying to say. I surround myself with outgoing people. So we was in organizations like the Campus Activities Board, SGA, President's Torch Society, orientation team. I was an orientation leader for 3 years. Like, it was just stuff like that. Also trying to juggle that stuff too. Like, I mean, surround yourself with people. They say you ain't supposed to take classes with your friends because you're gonna goof off. No, take your classes with your friends. That way, if one of y'all didn't get it, somebody else did. We used to sit up at night and we used to just have study parties and all that kind of stuff. It was on the way party, got lit after a while, but still, you studied, and you helped each other succeed. So the biggest takeaway from college is like time management. That's something I had to work on because my goal was procrastination is the key. Let's say it ain't the key, but for me it was the key. But time management skills, focus on time management skills, and surround yourself with people who share your same interests. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest takeaway from college.
So basically, the one they're going to college, considering going to college, they need to make sure they have a good work ethic.
Good work ethics.
Good work
like ethic. You said, and another thing too about that whole college life is, I don't care if you're an hour away from mama, 30 minutes away from mama, 2 hours, 4 hours, a plane ride, you gonna have to have those times where you have to encourage yourself. You have to pat yourself on the back, tell yourself good job, Dan, because you can call your mom all you want to. You can FaceTime your mom, FaceTime your daddy, your grandparents, anybody, but it's gonna take you to encourage yourself, because when those doors close and you sit in that room and your mind and your thoughts try to come at you, you gotta be able to fight that out. You gotta be able to keep your mental health in check, because it is a mental health battle in college. It's very like, I'm big on mental health. I went through a phase in college where I was very much depressed. Like depression came on, anxiety came on. It was a lot of stress. I was burning myself out from everything that I was doing. It was a lot. So yeah, pray. Mm-hmm. Going back to that again.
Yeah. Pray. That foundation prayer. Prayer, foundation. I mean, it will keep your mind, and like you say, the mental health. I've did a couple of podcasts about mental health, and I tried to stress that so much, but I tried to steer away from so many podcasts about mental health. But I think that is so much a platform that needs to be addressed, because like you said, especially a lot of people think like older people, but now we're finding more and more, like you say, the younger generation. Like you say, that was just a couple of years ago. You was in college, you know what I'm saying? Just a year or two ago, since you graduated. So people fail to realize that they look at kids and they say, oh, they're just a kid. But nowadays, kids have a lot on their plate that adults really fail to realize. It's just so much out there now that I didn't have to deal with when I was in school. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference. It's so many pressures now that kids are dealing with, and it affect them at a major rate. They have so much on them. And depression is one of the biggest things that our kids have to endure now, and they're afraid to confide in someone. That's a lot of it. They're like, if I tell you something, you're gonna tell somebody else. So a lot of people keep stuff bottled in. They don't share it. They don't have that outlet. They don't feel like they have a safe haven, we would say. They don't feel like they have a safe haven, even in their household, because a lot of parents, a child says something, they ignore them, or either some of them are in a household where the parents like, child going on, ain't stand what you talking about, going on and leave me alone, so they don't have that outlet where they can express themselves, what's on their heart or what's on their mind.
Because a lot of us, not a lot of us, because I didn't grow up like this, but a lot of kids my age, they didn't have that support system like I had. I thank God for my support system every day, because I never had to wonder if I could go and talk to my mom or my sisters, or anybody like that, my grandparents, anybody, my daddy. I never had to wonder if I can go and talk to my people. And you need to have somebody you can confide in, because about holding all that in, that's when you get the lashing out. That's when you get to taking, antidepressants. You can use anything to be antidepressant, liquor, marijuana, whatever you want to do. Like that's when you get into those substance abuse and stuff and things like that. And we also have, I know a lot of kids, like you said, a lot of kids are suffering from depression, also suffer from anxiety as well. The fear of letting our parents down. And
Exactly.
that's
Yep.
and that's something that I want people to understand. Like it's okay to fail. Okay. It's okay to fail. But when you do fail, just know that you gotta have faith. You can pull yourself back up out of it. Like so yeah, like I mean, so yeah, the anxiety is also something else that kids these days are struggling with. Is like people really don't understand. That's why mental health is so important to me. I sometimes when I call my friends, I don't even ask you how you doing. How's your mental health doing? Because it's so important. Like mental health, we fight mental health battles every day.
Right.
I fight one every morning I get up. Okay, I fight, and I have no choice. I gotta go out. I gotta go to work. I gotta go make my money. I gotta make my living. So it's just like I say, have that anchor, have that thing, have that little certain things you can think about, rely back on, and say, okay, boom, this is what I'm doing it for. This is who I'm doing it for.
Right.
Like
Right.
you gotta have it. You gotta have it. It's very important. And keep yourself sane. Keep yourself sane. Sometimes you can't worry about everything. Sometimes you just can't be Superman. I had to tell myself that. Then you just can't be Superman. Some things you just gonna have to say no to. So
Right. 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 I think it was
yeah.
maybe about maybe two podcasts ago, I believe, when I mentioned that something that you said a few moments ago about kids trying to live up to their parents' expectations. I talked about that in a podcast. I believe it maybe I think it was like episode 8, I want to say, when I talked about that. That parents, you have to be careful of having such high expectations of your kids, and a lot of people do it because they made mistakes or they had failures or they may have wanted to go to college, they weren't able to go. And a lot of people do things because they're actually trying to live out their dreams and stuff through their kids. So they put very high expectations on their kids because they're trying to live through their kids' accomplishments. They're trying to live through their kids' success. And that's where a lot of that comes from. And we have to make sure it's a very thin line, but we have to make sure that we don't cross that line. It's okay for you to want them to have better than you, to have a greater success than you, but you have to be careful as far as the pressure that you put on them to achieve certain things, and it's very, very thin line. But that's like you say, that's where a lot of it comes from with the kids, and then they just kind of pull back in that little shell and fall into a depression. And like you mentioned about the anxiety, that's a big issue too. A lot of kids, they have a fear, people have a fear of failing, a fear of not succeeding, a fear of letting someone down. And that just, all of that compiles and, like you're building a building, it just like block upon block, that weight keeps building up and that anxiety level just keep rising because they have so many different fears of letting people down. But yeah, so we have to be careful of the expectations that we put on people. And speaking of like college, because we know it's a good thing. A lot of kids graduate from high school and stuff and go to college. Some go and they don't stay because of the mindset. A lot of them get like, this is my ticket to freedom, and party, and they fail to do the work. So like we said, you got to have work ethics in college. And a lot of it, I mean, it got to be the work ethics there because it's a total different lifestyle than high school. You know, a lot of people like, this is my ticket to freedom, but it's a whole you know, once you get on that campus, it's like a whole different world, the classroom setting. You know, like high school, they may you're in an environment most of the time what you know how the high school setting is with how the teacher teaches you stuff, but college it's like more of an independent thing where the professor just gives you the assignment and you pretty much on your own. I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna tell you to go read this, but during class, I might be talking about a whole different ball game, and then the test come. And if you didn't read what I told you to read, then you know
you're gonna fail.
You just gonna fail the class. You know, you definitely got to have work ethics. And that's what a lot of parents need to stress in their kids. Yeah, you want to be proud of them and you smiling because they graduated and they finna go to college. But you also need to let them know that it's a whole different ball game when they step on campus. It's totally different from high school. Totally different. And technical school is good. I've gone to a technical school as well as a college setting, university setting as well. But there is a big difference between university setting and technical school setting. Two totally different. Now, technical school, it has some similarities to high school setting. That you know that the teachers teach on technical school teach on a more calmer level, book to book, textbook. But university style, I mean, you in these big classroom, like auditorium side classroom, and you pretty much, you know, you either get it or you don't get it. It's up to you, you know.
And then it's like in college, like you're pretty much like some schools you're a number. You're not even really known by your name. Like in high school, you know for a fact I'm going to these 4 classes every day. I'm going to see the same people I see in these 4 classes every day. In high school, you know, I mean, in college, you got Monday, Wednesday classes, you got Tuesday, Thursday classes, you got class that probably gonna get canceled, but yeah, your class might be canceled, but the work is still there. You know, they assign words, say, hey, read this and go, and like I said, read it and go about your business. And then when it's time to take the test, I expect you to know. Some college professors don't even teach. They look at you to teach yourself.
Yeah.
You got all them online classes. I'm like, oh, I got online classes because I ain't got to go to class. Okay, the online classes require a lot of discipline. Yeah. You gotta be real disciplined to take an online class because when that due date come, that due date is there. I took a lot of my classes online, and man, it's good. It's a benefit. I had a semester. I had every class online. 4 or 5 classes I had online. So what I did, I laid in my bed, got up, went to party, then came back and laid back right again. But hey, the work got done, so
yeah. So the work ethic is very important. Now I was reading something, and it's kind of like giving statistics about the millennium age range. And I saw what they were saying, like, well, of course we know social media is the thing now. Everybody's on social media, from the old to the young. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like young. You can have a little small kid, 4-year-old, 3-year-old. They're on Facebook. Parents setting them up pages. I mean, it's all kind of stuff. But they were saying like that age group is like 79%. They would say like 79% use social media. And I'm like, oh, that's extremely high, you know, 79%. And then it was saying like the millennials are on the rise in the workforce. You're seeing more of them entering into the workforce now than you used to see in the past. And statistics show that they represent at least 75% globally of the workforce, or will represent at least 75% of globally of workforce by 2025. So, you know, we're at 2022 now. That's just like 3 years from now. So you're looking at now, that would be like the kids who are freshmen now, freshmen in high school, would be a part of that 75%. So, you know, with that being said, you know, do you think like the younger generation should be more focused on college, getting degrees or some type of certification? So, you know, a lot of times you don't really necessarily have to go to like a 4-year college and university, but you can go to like a trade school, technical school, and get trained in a certain area or something for the workforce. And then I know now, like some technical school, they actually have are in coalition. Well, no, that's the best word we want to say, coalition, but conjunction maybe. They're in with in corporations, large companies now that you know, they actually have classes on campus. You know, they're set up to where they actually, you go in and train them how to do a specific skill, and then once they graduate from the trade school, technical school, you know, they hire them. Then a lot of those companies are paying them to go to a technical school, and then they hire them immediately. So do you think like that's something that the ones who are coming out of school now should like kind of zoom in on?
I think they should honestly take advantage of all opportunities that they have. And honestly, I can't say that college is not for everybody. You know, you have certain people, you know, they don't want to go to college, you know. So, and that's perfectly fine. But my thing is this, have you a plan? Have your plan of what you want to do, you know? And like you said, these jobs out here, they'll pay for you to go to school. They'll pay you to go get your little technical degree. You know, I think even police officers pay you to go get your criminal justice associate degree from Central Georgia Tech or South Georgia Tech or something like that. I mean, so take advantage of those opportunities that you are given. I hope that, see, these generation of kids, like, they up and coming, I think that they are going to be, you know, I think they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right because they're going to be on the technology side. So and that's the way that things are going. So they'll be able to run like those technology-driven machines, you know, and stuff like that. Because that's the way that the world is going. It's going in the technology area, and they're going to be really quick for it. I'm telling you, they're going to be really quick for it. I just don't want to get lazy.
Right.
No, lazy, you know, all that technology stuff, like computers. They got desktop computers in their room. I ain't never had a desktop computer in my life. I ain't never seen it in my life. A 9-year-old got a desktop computer.
Yep, you have 4 and 5-year-old, you know, with cell phones and they know how to work it better than you. Better than you. They can show you how to do stuff, download. I'm like, how do you know all of this? I mean, they get the phone and they just be going in and out from one thing to the other. And the biggest thing with them is YouTube. Because there's so much on YouTube. They'll go on YouTube, and I think like more of the younger kids are on YouTube more than Facebook. Like when I say younger, I mean like the smaller. They're not quite teenagers yet. They're smaller. More of them are on like YouTube because it's video content. You know, they can watch it. So they're more into that.
YouTube and TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok taught me so much stuff that I didn't know. People get on TikTok and make little tutorial videos on regular household items that we have every day we didn't know how to use for real. That's how I know about the top that go in the pot. It's sitting in the little thing right here, and you ain't got to really put the pot nowhere. I mean the top to the pot nowhere. It's like I know I learned so much stuff off TikTok. That's why I say each of them gonna be ready. They're gonna be ready. But what we don't need to do is let the technology raise the children. We don't need to let that happen. That we don't need to have.
Well, so tell us about, I know you said you're managing everything, you're juggling many hats. So just tell us some of the things that you have upcoming. And then we also forgot you're also a musician. We forgot about that.
Yes, I'm a musician. Oh, wow. Well, upcoming. I have a lot of things in the work. Upcoming. A lot of things I've been putting on hold right quick because the last week of April, I had a lot of events going on with the city as councilman reporter. Then in the latter part of May, got my seniors graduating, so gotta get them prepared for the real world and graduation and everything like that. So a lot of my stuff has been put on hold right now, but in the summer I'm going to start announcing some stuff.
Okay. So any upcoming city events that you want to mention to the people?
We have a music festival. The Beaver Creek Music Festival is coming up. I think it's May the 15th, I want to say. Let me look at my calendar. It is actually May the 14th. May the 14th. That's we're gonna have a Beaver Creek. Is it May the 14th or the 15th? Don't get me wrong. I'll post a flyer on Facebook. But we're having a Beaver Creek Music Festival downtown Montezuma, Charlie Jackson Park. We have a lot of vendors and everybody out, a lot of musical acts. It's gonna be from I think up in the afternoon time to about 8 o'clock at night. So we have a lot of acts coming in. So feel free to come out and join us downtown City Montezuma, May the 14th or the 15th. I don't know which one it is right now, but yeah. So that's the most upcoming thing that we have.
Okay. Well, we'll be sure to look out for the upcoming Beaver Creek Music Festival in Montezuma, Georgia. All right. Now tell the people how can they find you on social media? For those who would like to follow you, how can they follow you?
I am on Facebook, Daniel Porter. I also have my councilman page, Councilman Daniel Porter is also on Facebook. Go like and follow me for all the updates that I have for the city. I have an Instagram page at CMP98. I think it's my tagline at CMP98. I can't remember right now, but I won't drop all that. But yeah, so if you want to find me, find any events I have coming up, just basically find me on Facebook.
Okay. All right. And in closing, any final remarks that you would like to give in our closing?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast. This is my first ever podcast I've done. I I was kind of nervous because I was rambling. I was doing a lot of rambling and everything, but just thank you so much for having me. I love what you're doing. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. I'm extremely proud of you. Yeah, I can see you going somewhere. You're going somewhere. If you haven't already, make sure y'all go subscribe to Tina's YouTube channel. Make sure y'all go find the podcast, listen to the podcast, and share with a friend because we talked about some good stuff in here that I know a lot of people can take and run with, So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for joining me. And you're my first ever guest. You are the first ever guest. Because when I started last year, it was just me. I didn't do any guests on here. And so this year I thought about it, I said, well, I think this season I'm just gonna start inviting different people on. So you are the first person who came to my mind. I said, I'm gonna get Daniel, the history maker. I'm gonna invite him to be my first guest, and I'm really glad about that decision. I mean, this was an amazing podcast, success on the rise, a purpose-driven millennial. That's why I say you're purpose-driven. You're juggling many things, wearing many hats, but you're managing it and you're making it work. And like you say, that foundation is prayer too. It's like the glue that holds everything together, holds it all together. So, I mean, this has been an amazing podcast. Thank you for joining me. And guys, in closing, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the podcast. Again, Real Talk with Kaylon Divine Inspiration. You can find it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Radio Public app, Pocket Cast app, the Breaker app. You can either go to your web browser, type it in, Real Talk with Kaylon Divine Inspiration on those outlets, or download the apps from Google Play. And for the video version like this one, you can go to my YouTube channel and look at the video on Kaylon Divine Inspiration on YouTube. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you'll automatically be notified when I post new content. Also, guys, let me invite you today to go over to Facebook and check out the amazing Facebook group. It is called Kaylon Divine Amazing Deals. Kaylon, K-L-U-N, Kaylon Divine Amazing Deals. On that group page, you will find Amazon merchandise. I am an affiliate of Amazon. So what I am is kind of like the middleman. I post links for Amazon.com merchandise. Once you click on those links, it takes you directly to Amazon.com. Anything you choose to purchase from that link or an associated link, once you get there, your purchasing process is with Amazon from start to finish. They fulfill your order and ship you your merchandise. So on that group page, promo codes are posted, discounts, deals of the day, limited time offers, price drops, coupons, subscription savings, and so much more. So go check out the group page and join the group today. Again, that name on Facebook is Kaylon Divine Amazing Deals. I've been able to help thousands of people save on Amazon.com. Those links are shared across different social media platforms. The group itself on Facebook has maybe about 550 members thus far, but more than that have benefited from the Amazon links because it's shared across the board on Facebook. Different pages on Facebook it's shared to, and then it's shared to Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So it's shared to different platforms. So thousands of people have benefited from it. So go check that out today, guys. I promise you, you won't regret it. I post things in there every week, sometimes multiple times during the week, but I try to get on there at least once and highlight some of their merchandise for you. So check that out again. Again, it's Kaylon Divine Amazing Deals Facebook group. Go over and join today. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube to Kaylon Divine Inspirations and follow the Real Talk with Kaylon Divine Inspiration podcast. We air bi-weekly. This is episode 10, May 1st. We will air again 2 weeks from today. We air bi-weekly on Sundays at 8 a.m. So tune in for our next episode. And again, audience, thank you for tuning in. And let's give our wonderful guests a wonderful hand, those who are out in the listening audience. We just thank you so much for joining us, Councilman Daniel Porter, Mr. Porter, we thank you for joining us. A success on the rise, a purpose-driven millennium. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Until the next time, be blessed. Remember to smile, 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 and go have yourself an amazing, amazing day. Thank you guys.